You're listening to the all-new Urban Specialist broadcast. It's the Serving on Sunday show, hosted by Antong, Bruce, Wayne, Lucky, and inspired by the late great Bishop Omar Jawar.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Serving on Sundays with your host, Minister Cameron Sweet. And yes, I am usually the co-host, but today our main host, Antong, Bruce Wayne Lucky, is actually on another mission as we speak. So man, he wanted to make sure that I told you guys that he loves y'all, he misses y'all, and to make sure to tune in for next Sunday as we will continue this thing together, y'all. And we want to make sure that we do the due diligence to invite somebody, to wake somebody up, and to make sure that they are on for this powerful conversation. Look, y'all, we will be right back right after this.
Are you a change maker serving in your community? Or would you like to join a community of change makers? Then log on to urbanspecialist.org and sign up for Uniteversity.
What is going on?
This is what's going on in your neighborhood.
On sale now, A Redemptive Path Forward from Incarceration to a Life of Activism by Antong Lucky. True life test turned testimony of a child of an incarcerated father growing up in an impoverished, crime-ridden neighborhood, falling into the trenches of despair. This memoir tells the story of true transformation, turning his life around to becoming a beacon of light and a true change agent. A Redemptive Path Forward from Incarceration to a Life of Activism by Antong Lucky. Order your copy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or anywhere books are sold. Also available on Audible at audible.com.
Stop what you're doing and follow the Urban Specialist on all social media.
Yo, this is Terrence Randolph, man. I'm an anchor change maker, Cedar Chris. Hey, I'm reaching out to all OGs. If you want to make real changes in your neighborhood, go to urbanspecialist.org and sign up for the Uniteversity. Join our one-day OGU class and be a part of the movement. Don't just see the change, be a part of the change. It's a movement that our communities need. Let's make our streets safer together. Again, go to urbanspecialist.org and sign up today.
The Urban Specialist. Inspirational music.
Still I'm out here thriving. Sometimes the noise can be so loud, but I'm always above, I won't never stay down. Cause I've been humble, but God's in control. And now it's time that I remember who I am, yeah. Hey, my head up, yeah, I'm confident. Always up, never stuck, that's the way it is. Keep on playing in my face, you gon' have to quit. Blame these lessons on this grace, yeah, I'm confident.
Urban Specialist.
I need you to know.
Serving on Sundays. This is the Serving on Sunday Salute Showcase, shining our light on another change maker, serving in the community.
Hey family, welcome back to Serving on Sundays. I am here today live this beautiful Sunday morning. Just had some good coffee, just getting ready for the day. Look, I'm here. I'm not alone. Look, I know that I'm usually the co-host, and my brother Bruce had to actually go on another mission, but man, I am not here alone. I got two brothers in the house today that, man, we have been rocking it all weekend, just all the stuff that they've been able to do. Look, I'm highlighting individuals today that are truly making a change. Man, I'm telling you, it's not even in the state of Texas, it's all across the nation. So look, I got two individuals, Bullock, and I got Dr. Joseph Richardson. Yeah. Look.
Morning.
How y'all doing this morning, brothers? Yes, sir.
Bless.
Yes, sir. So, Che, I want to get started with you, brother. I just want to quickly just talk about all the things you're doing. You're a CEO of the C. Bullock and Associates Corporation, a company established to deliver innovative solutions and leadership across its industry with the violence prevention and the whole 9 yards, just helping to do similar to the things we're doing with Urban Specialists. So, man, can you just quickly highlight on that, where that vision started and how everything just came about to be where it's at now?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, the vision started when I was working at Prince George's County Hospital Center with a program called CAP-VIP. It was a hospital-based violence intervention program, and Dr. Richardson, hired me to be a credible messenger. What I did was I went into the hospital rooms where the men were injured and started to build a relationship with them. It wasn't simple. One thing that I had to learn is that you got to give them a part of you and in return, they'll give you a part of them. It's the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where the vision started from. And then I was like, you know what? I'm my own brand.
Yeah.
Right. It's time to expand. So that's legitimately how it all started. Right. Being in the hospital, helping young black men in the Washington, D.C. area.
Wow. I'm telling you all, there was so much that happened just a few weeks ago with the shooting. And the way everything has been lined up, there's actually a documentary that is presenting tonight. And I have Dr. Joseph that's also here. He's an African American Studies professor, medical anthropology and epidemiology at the University of Maryland. His works focus on gun violence, structural violence, mental health, and healing in black communities. He's also the director of the Capital Region Violence Intervention Program, which is a CVIP that my sister Veronica Wilson linked up with urban specialists and combined this thing. It all happened in the time it happened. Welcome here, man.
Appreciate you. One thing I want to say, I'm the former director of the Capital Region Violence Intervention Program, but we started it. We were the first hospital violence intervention program to serve the DC metropolitan area. Now there's 6 and about to be 7 hospital violence intervention programs in the district, but happy to be here.
Awesome, man. So, man, I just want to thank you guys again for being here today, man. I know that there's a lot that's been going on. We have had this conversation, and Bruce was there, Antong was there. He pretty much just hosted this panel where we invited the community with everything that was going on, but also the good of being able to highlight with the documentary that you guys are presenting tonight, which is crazy. Talk about that experience to be able to be on that panel and just kind of the feedback from the crowd that came in, and just talk about that. Anybody can talk about that.
No, it's amazing, and it wouldn't have happened without our comrade MVP of all of this, Veronica Wilson, as well as Antong Lucky. But I mean, the crowd was amazing. The audience was asking some really insightful questions, and I think we introduced many people to the concept of hospital violence intervention programs, which currently my understanding is there's really no hospital violence intervention program in Dallas. And so I think in terms of just a community violence intervention ecosystem, it's a really vital and important piece to have as part of that ecosystem. And as professionals who developed a program like this in DC, and then ultimately, what we did was take 10 of the young brothers that we were working with in that program in the first Life After the Gunshot, because this is the second episode, but the first episode, which was 98 minutes, actually focuses on those 10 young brothers, and we felt that it was important to bring the reality of what it's like to be injured and how young men cope with trauma, and how we can provide a space for them to heal.
Yeah, no, I believe that that's very powerful. There is, so much that we're trying to, as our group, Urban Specialists, we're really trying to prevent, and I think that's the word that we're all in for, is to prevent. And the biggest thing that we believe is so important is the mental health side. And I believe that that's what you guys are really focusing on when you say trauma, when you say the upbringing. What is that experience like to get into that problem solving, right? Of what it is with the young child, the children that you're dealing with. What does that process start out? What does that look like?
That's a great question. I think from a social and emotional aspect of it, we got to meet people where they are. And I believe that when you meet people where they are, you build the credibility in a relationship with them. You know what I mean? Then eventually, you have your wall of China, right? I always say that, they didn't build the wall of China overnight. They focus on each brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid, and eventually, they had their wall. But I think, to go back to your original question that you asked Dr. Richardson, just as an artist, sitting in the town hall last night, I felt all the emotion. right? And I was just sitting there just visualizing, right, how can we capture something like this, right, for our next documentary, right? Because, the emotions was coming from the people, and the people, right, are from the community, and we all know that everyone has trauma, right? And it's time to heal, right? We should be asking the questions, what does healing look like, right? How can we obtain, that goal? But to answer your question a little further, as far as with the kids, you just gotta understand, you gotta meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Right. There's no cookie cutter articulation of it. You know what I mean? I just believe you go in with an open heart, open mind, and be vulnerable to see what happens.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Doc.
I mean, our primary goal was to really show what trauma looks like, because I think we often as a society don't pay enough attention to trauma among black men. We almost dismiss it, and we're told from a very young age, you need to man up, don't cry, this is what big boys do. But we're neglecting to fully embrace that masculinity and manhood also requires being vulnerable. And when we would hear the stories from young men that we worked with about the vulnerability of having symptoms of traumatic stress that were really comparable to what you would see somebody who was in war. So if you know that a soldier has been in Iraq or Afghanistan and they're experiencing nightmares, or they're paranoid, experience hypervigilance, we see the same symptoms with the young men that we work with. Yeah. But what we would often find too is that when you start to peel back the layers of their traumatic stress, you go further back into their lives and find that there were other adverse childhood experiences that may have started when they were 4 or 5 years old. And so our goal was to provide a platform where we could show what that vulnerability looks like, but also to be able to use the research that we were doing with the young men to translate into effective interventions that would help them deal with that trauma.
Yeah, no, I definitely, that's very, very powerful. I think that's a big way of how people have to hear this, man. If you're listening right now, if you're on your way to church or wherever you're at, we're going to get back on here shortly. We're going to play a song, and then we're going to have our brothers back on here real quick. So please stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back right after this.
The Urban Specialist. Inspirational music.
The song says, work it out for me. All the things I can't see. Lord, I will trust you and believe, 'cause I know that you will work it out for me. Open up the door. Please speak a word of life, Lord. Show me what you have in store. I need you to work it out for me. Oh Lord, work it out for me. All the things I can't see, I will trust you and believe. I know you will work it out for me. This is my favorite part right here. Work it out for me. Lord, I need you to work it out for me. Said I'll trust you and believe. Oh, you will work it out. Work it out for me. I'm going to say it again, Marcus. Work it out for me. Oh, work it out. Work it out for me. Lord, I'll trust you and believe. Anybody know he will work it out for me.
Stop what you're doing and follow the Urban Specialist on all social media.
What's up, everybody? We are back here today. It's Serving on Sundays. Y'all, listen, if you guys are still on, if you heard what we are talking about, look, I got two brothers in the house right now. We got Shay Bullock, Dr. Joseph Richardson, who is in the house right now. Listen, we got so much that we are trying to uncover, man. We just got such little time to really go into this, man. There's so much that we're trying to do with the city of Dallas, all across the state, the nation, and man, you guys are doing a fantastic job in the state of Maryland. So listen, we're gonna get right in, diving into why you guys have came in to Dallas and what the purpose of this trip is about.
So it's Shay Bullock here. The purpose of Dallas is showing black love, showing black love in a sexual violence type of area. I want to shout out King and Queen. They were amazing. Just wearing their emotions and their heart, on their sleeves. I couldn't have met two people that's so in touch with, their emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love those two. I believe that it's 2025, right? Everything is digital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, let's show black love on the theater.
Yeah.
Or a movie screen. You know what I mean? How do you make it out the hood, being incarcerated while married, right? And continue to be successful, which they've been.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make it?
Yeah.
And I think, this documentary shows you really how to love your partner and make it out the hood, at the same time. Because I always say, greatness is not this esoteric life form. It's really within all of us.
Yeah.
We just got to tap into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Man, it's so crazy that King Bizer, this is not planned. We had King Bizer on the radio show like maybe a month ago. And for him to just come in, I met that brother at the door. And I'm telling you, he had it was like $1 billion smile. And his presence, it lifted me up. I was tired that Sunday morning. I was like, oh my gosh. But when I saw this brother, he came in and he just really set the tone of just his bubbly spirit. And man, just to know that you guys are playing a part with telling that story and helping those individuals, those that are out there that may be in the hood that don't see a future, that there really is a future that we were able to see with his story. And just talking about, man, King Bizer, man, if you're listening right now, bro, I'm so glad, man. I know we were chopping it up this past Thursday, but man, y'all, like, for real, y'all too, King and Queen, love y'all so much, and so glad that you guys have been able to do all of this, man. We're so proud of y'all. So yes, Doc, talk about just this whole experience. Just how did it all just come up? Like, where did it start? And now to be here in this moment to present the second episode.
So it's an amazing story, and I don't even know if we have enough time to get into it, but you know how sometimes things in the universe just perfectly align, because after we did the first episode of the docuseries, we said to ourselves, we want to do the second one in the South, but we didn't really know where we wanted to go. And it was just by chance that Chase's cousin knew Bizer, right? They were actually locked up together. And so from that, and his cousin is from DC. And so from that relationship, that's how we met Bizer. We met Bizer at a party in DC.
Father's party.
At Chase's father's party, which then led us to come here, right? Through that connection. But then also just in terms of just from a statistical standpoint, in 2023, while homicides were going down across the country, there were only a handful of cities where homicides were actually increasing, a few. And DC and Dallas were those two of those, I think 5 or 6 cities where homicides were going up. So in DC, 2023, there were 274 homicides, and in Dallas, there were 246. And so even in terms of kind of being the anomalies, in terms of the cities that were experiencing a rise in homicides, we were in similar conditions. And then, once we got here, we started connecting, we started making, more connections. Veronica was in the CVI Leadership Academy, and it happened when one of my colleagues is in that, and he told me about her. he's from DC. And that's how we connected with her, and that's how we're here right now. But also, I just, in terms of like the story, right? For Life After the Gunshot, we focus a lot on the intersection of the criminal legal system and the healthcare system. So when people are injured, right, that's a healthcare issue, but many people that we have dealt with in the work that we do also have a criminal justice history. And so anywhere between 70 to 80% of the young men that we would deal with that were shot may have been either incarcerated or currently under some form of community supervision, right?
Yeah.
And so why is that critically important? Because in the hospital violence intervention world, the number one risk factor that we found for bringing someone back to the hospital beyond just that they had been injured before was if they had been incarcerated.
Wow.
And if you really start to unpack it and think about felony disenfranchisement, right? These are the collateral consequences of having a felony. So the inability to get a license, for example, in a certain state, if you wanted to become a barber, or there were some licensing issues. The inability, for example, you're excluded from legal employment because in certain states and cities you have to check off that you have been incarcerated, that you have felony, which basically X's you out in many situations of actually getting a job.
Yeah.
So in where we are in the DC metropolitan area, there are like 40,000 collateral consequences to having a felony. 40,000.
Wow.
Right? So you can imagine what it's like to have to navigate all of that, not being able to get employment, and what that forces you into a situation of economic survival. And if you're out, in the street and you have to survive, more than likely you're gonna have to carry a firearm, which is gonna increase the likelihood that you're gonna injure someone and also be injured.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no way that we can approach this without talking about the impact of the criminal justice system on our communities and the impact of mass incarceration. And then to find, as we were doing the story on both King and Queen, that they have both been incarcerated. They were co-Ds on the same case, right? But they also come from and were born and raised in Oak Cliff, which by zip codes has the highest rate of incarceration in the state of Texas.
Wow. I did not even know that.
Right?
And I'm literally 10 minutes away. That's crazy.
In the entire state.
Wow.
Sends more people to prison than any other zip code.
Wow.
And that was important for us, through the learning process. We didn't know that when we started.
Yeah.
As researchers, we started uncovering, okay, these are some of the social determinants of health in these communities, which lead to shorter life expectancy, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to talk about the impact of mass incarceration and all the things that actually are intricately tied to gun violence. But because you didn't know it and many people don't know it, that's the importance of why digital stories are meaningful.
Yeah.
Because the statistics that we may understand as scientists typically never get out to a broader audience, right? And the narratives of the people who are impacted by it. But it's also about a story of resilience, because even despite the collateral consequences of a felony and 40,000 and felony disenfranchisement, here's a couple that went to prison together, came out. Under normal circumstances, even statistically, most couples, when someone is incarcerated and the other person is on the outside, those couples typically are divorced within this period of time that incarceration is happening. So for both of them to be incarcerated and still remain together, even afterwards, is an amazing story.
That is very amazing. Wow.
Right? And now are entrepreneurs. So, if they can show that the black family can stay together through that, right? And at the core of who we are as a people comes down to the black family and the strength of it, that no system can break us apart.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's
right?
powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, look, y'all, I mean, this is, I know this is something we can definitely take on. I know we're going to definitely have more time when you guys come back in Dallas, because I know there's heavy work to do. From what you're saying, with Oak Cliff being the highest in Texas, there's definitely so much work that we have to do collectively. So I definitely want to make sure that the listeners that are listening right now, if you're listening right now, I just want you to know that there are true individuals, there are groups that are really trying to make a change in the community. So if you want to be a part of this, I want to make sure that the two brothers I'm speaking with, if you guys can just give information on what is going on tonight and how the listeners can be in tune and be a part of the mission that you guys are doing.
So tickets, www.lifeafterthegunshot.com. A true love story. Jump on the website, hit the ticket link, put your information in, you receive your ticket in the email. It doesn't get any easier than that. Or, right, you can come on down to the Texas Theater tonight, 6 p.m., and we there. We'd love to meet you guys. You know, this documentary is about love, and we're about showing love. So, you know, come, let's have a Black love premiere.
That's it.
And just to follow up on what Che was saying, I mean, everyone knows to plug in lifeafterthegunshot.com, Texas Theater, 6 p.m. Sunday, tonight, come through. But also, when we say love story, like, we have never used that in the title. Also, it's 231 Jefferson Boulevard, Dallas, Texas, 25208, which is actually the Texas theater we were showing is rated, I think, the #1 theater in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
So make sure, you know, pull up tonight, 6 p.m. It's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have a Q&A afterwards with all the cast. So you definitely get to ask questions from Queen Advisor. But the last thing I really want to say is we called it a love story for a reason. And it's not just about the love between this married couple and the challenges that they had to face while they were incarcerated, but it's also the love for Oak Cliff, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's also the love that King and Che's cousin had when they were incarcerated together and built a friendship up while they were incarcerated, and all the amazing things that they even did in a prison setting, that they were setting up, you know, peer support groups to deal with issues among men that were dealing with mental health issues while they were incarcerated. And it's also about the love that you will see between King Bizer and his mother. And one of the things that you mentioned, and I'm glad this is called Serving on Sundays, is that very early on, and this is not really a spoiler alert, but very early on in King Bizer's life, you know, his mother had really indoctrinated into him to be a preacher. While he did not become a preacher in a church, he holds his church every time. If you meet him, he holds church every time you're around him. He is the epitome of a street preacher that can go out onto the corner and captivate everyone.
Yeah.
6 p.m. tonight.
Real quick, Doc, how can people reach out to you individually? And then, Che, I want to make sure that any Instagram, Facebook, however, social media, website, whatever you guys want to lay out for the people that are listening, that they can even reach out to you guys personally.
So we have our own company, which we do, you know, digital storytelling, and we produce digital stories, as well as we do consulting on research, evaluation, technical assistance. So you can reach us on changeXtimesagents.com. And then for my personal Instagram, you could reach me at DocJorich on Instagram, and I use the same on Threads, and I'm also on Blue Sky at Jojo Rich.
Got it.
Blue Sky. So reach me there.
Che?
And you can find me on IG, Bullets with no name, all one word, Bullets with no name. Or you can reach us at Life After the Gunshot That's our IG. So, whichever way you feel comfortable, our lines are open. And we're ready to build relationships, positive relationships.
Well, brothers, thank y'all so much, man. And for those that are listening, if you guys want to be a part, 6 p.m. tonight, Life After the Gunshot. It's Dallas. It's a love story. And it is tonight at 6 p.m. at the Texas Theater, one of the nicest theaters in Texas, 231 Jefferson Boulevard, Dallas, Texas, 75208. Make sure that you go to lifeafterthegunshot.com to get your tickets. Tickets can be purchased and are available at the door so that you can, the man that has truly been doing this work, the couple that has been doing this work, the king and queen, King Bizer, really going in strong and being able to see how this all goes towards everything, the foundation of everything we are really ultimately trying to do, and that is prevent the senseless violence, letting someone know that there is hope in these streets and that we're able to provide that through the visual storytelling. So guys, thank y'all so much for being on today. I am more than blessed. I'm inspired. One thing that our late great Bishop Omar Jawar, the founder of Urban Specialist, says is that only inspired people can inspire people, and I do truly believe that somebody out there, if you're driving right now, we know you were inspired today. So guess what? I got one last question. If I was to invite you guys and bring you guys back, even if y'all flew in, whenever y'all are coming down to do some more mission work here, are y'all able to get on the show again?
No question.
Absolutely. We here without a doubt. And I want to say this too. Like, Dallas has become our second home. Sure. We have mad love for Dallas, man. For real,
Amen.
for real.
Amen.
We love Dallas, man. Dallas has embraced us unbelievably. So, we consider this our second home.
Praise God. Well, y'all stay tuned right here. We'll be right back after this.
Stop what you're doing and follow the Urban Specialist on all social media.
Look, we're closing out, man. I just want to say, man, commissary is necessary. If you know somebody, or if you have somebody, a family member, a friend that's in the penal systems, I want you guys to do one thing, and that's that one thing, man. Make sure that you are sending your love. Make sure that you are sending money, sending your love, sending your prayers, and visiting these brothers and sisters who are in these systems. Y'all, listen, one thing that we always tell people is that commissary is necessary. So y'all, the ones that are in there right now, if you are receiving Big Mama's money or the money that you get in from your family, listen, do not do anything illegal. Make sure that you are using the money for good, y'all. Proper stewardship. Same bat time, same bat channel next week, next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. You do not want to miss what we have in store for y'all. So y'all have a blessed Sunday and an incredible week, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace.
Hey y'all, check this out. If you know anybody in the city of Dallas who's been impacted by violence, or just somebody in the neighborhood who are searching for resources, whether that's job, whether it's counseling, whatever they need, make sure you tell them to call the Urban Specialist Helpline. Let me say that again, the Urban Specialist Helpline. That number is 469-401-8317. Get your pen. I'm gonna say it again, 469-401-8317. If they need help, tell them to call that number right now.
You've been listening to the Urban Specialist broadcast. Views and opinions expressed are those of Antong Lucky and special guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of this station.